Hey, what's up with Reed?
Ever since he beat Paper Mario the Origami King, he's started to think that our world is the overworld from the game.
Oh, that explains why I caught him trying to stuff confetti in the downstairs toilet, claiming it was a hole. You should probably go talk to him.
Wish me luck. Hey, buddy, everything okay over here?
I've looked everywhere, but I just can't seem to find the toad to 100% this world, but you know how it goes. When in doubt, start hitting everything with a hammer.
Listen, Reed, I know you had a fun time playing the game, but you beat it already. You just need to... Wait, what was that about a hammer?
Oh, there you are, buddy. Don't worry, I'll get you out.
No!
Paper Mario The Origami King. It was announced on May 14th, 2020 and released 2 months later on July 17th. We didn't get that much info about the game prior to its release. We only received 2 trailers as well as some screenshots here and there. I made videos for both, the first one being very critical of how little information was actually provided in the first trailer, given how bad the reception of the last 2 games was, and the Thousand Year Door being one of my all-time favorite games. The second trailer was a big improvement, giving us a better preview of the worlds we would be exploring, as well as more information on the battle system. I was actually kind of excited for the game. I went into my playthrough with low expectations and an open mind. Being that this game is labeled an adventure game and not an RPG, I knew that it wasn't going to be the Paper Mario sequel that a lot of us wanted. So how did I feel about Origami King after beating the game? Yeah, so I really like the game, but it has a lot of issues, but I still had a great time with it despite its flaws, but it has a lot of heart put into it. Wait, where are you going? This review is going to sound like a mixed bag because that's what this game was for me. There were a lot of things that I liked in almost every aspect of the game, but it still has its fair share of issues sprinkled in. The game's strengths are best experienced firsthand or through watching a Let's Play, not through a quick rundown in a review. I'm going to do my best to talk generally about them, while also trying to make sure they're not overshadowed by the bad because I had an overall positive experience with this game. It's going to be tough, but I'll do my best. For the sake of organization, I'm going to break this review down by the game's overworld adventure mechanics, story, battle system, and ending/postgame. Paper Mario The Origami King accomplishes what it sets out to do, be an adventure. You get thrown into the game's premise pretty quick. Mario and Luigi are invited to Princess Peach's castle for the Origami Festival. It was all trapped by Prince Ali, who's turned Peach and most of the denizens of the Mushroom Kingdom into his origami slaves while wrapping Peach's castle in 5 streamers. You meet up with Ali's sister Olivia to try to take him down, and you're on your way. Despite getting the player straight into the action, the beginning of the game is still very hand-holdy. Whoa, it's been a while since that first battle, hasn't it? Olivia, it's been like 10 minutes. I've had grocery store lunch breaks longer than this. Come on, oh my God, let me play the game! The Whispering Woods and Toad Town opening of the game is pretty slow for this reason. But before you know it, you've spread your paratrooper wings and you're out exploring the world. The 5 areas of the game, plus the final level, are brimming with personality. Even the generic grassy Overlook Mountain has various resort activities and... religion? I think that's a first for a Mario game, but I could be wrong. Overplayed environments like the desert are given a fresh coat of paint in Origami King, and World 5 is a spa resort in the sky that's also a jungle, that's also a game show. I mean, come on, who wouldn't want to go there? There's also 4 Elemental temples to explore that give off Zelda vibes. If you have trouble with the Water Shrine puzzle, just treat it like Fire Emblem Heroes and pay to win, so the game solves the puzzle for you. You'll get your money back right away anyway. That aside, these temples provided for a fun challenge and give Olivia cool summoning abilities needed to progress in the overworld and in battle. I like it when she turns into a Moltres ripoff. There are 4 main overworld elements that you will find in every world. Toads, bowls to fill, collectibles, and the 1000-fold arms puzzles. When I first saw the concept of rescuing toads introduced in the trailer, I honestly thought it was going to be super annoying, but it actually was the opposite for me. Looking for toads happens naturally as you're exploring the worlds, and they're often noticeable enough. So why not get rewarded for adventuring in an adventure game? Not only does rescuing toads help you in battle tremendously, more on that later, but some toads give you handsome rewards and unlock other features in the game, such as the Battle Lab. The toads also have a lot of funny quips that I looked forward to reading the longer I played the game. Using confetti in the world is reminiscent of using paint to recolor the world in Color Splash, and it adds as little to Origami King as Color Splash did to the Paper Mario franchise. Occasionally filling these holes is required to progress, but otherwise they're just a time waster to add another completion layer to the game and an excuse to not have an EXP system in battle for the third game in a row. See, I say this and I still filled up most of the holes in the game because I'm basically a mom trapped inside a 24-year-old boy's body. Just ask my roommates. I need things clean and tidy, kids! As much as I found filling these holes cathartic, they're a largely unnecessary part of the game disguised as necessary. Collectibles, or as I call them, member statues, are found throughout the worlds in chests by completing challenges or spending exorbitant amounts of money, sometimes accidentally. Oh, you motherfucker! Yes, they're extra content, but I automatically dislike these things when I realize that they're almost all that you find in chests throughout the game, and they just serve as reminders of things you literally just saw. Member falling leaves, member dick tower, member too soon.
Oh, I remember.
They're only there to waste your time and coins to make the game harder to 100%. The 1000 fold arms are an ability that Mario has in Origami King that are used to solve various puzzles throughout the worlds. They're a fine addition to the game. The only complaint I have about the mechanic is that they're the one input in the game keeping me from using a GameCube controller and reliving the glory days. Nintendo, please let us button map GameCube controllers. Besides these 4 reoccurring elements, each world has its own various exploration mechanics. Sometimes you have a vehicle like a boot car to cruise through the desert, a canoe to ride whitewater rapids, or a boat and submarine to explore the Great Sea. You can actually make the boat go faster by buying an engine upgrade, which I highly recommend. These and the many other things to do in the overworld never overstay their welcome, and are really what made the game fun for me. There's always something new to see and do, which is why I was so excited to keep playing. Well, except for finding Luigi in the Shogun Studio maze, quickest Google search of my life, and tracking down Bobby in Autumn Mountain constantly, who can apparently ignore the laws of physics every now and then. Partners are kind of back in Origami King to help you on your journey. You'll team up with Bobby the Bob-omb, Professor Toad, Hammock, and Bowser. I say partners are kind of back because the game treats the partner system like Captain Marvel in the Avengers movies. We're glad that you're here, but you should be doing a lot more. Having only 4 actual partners is disappointing on its own, but on top of that, A, you don't get to keep any of them for the whole game. Each only stays with you for 1 world. B, Professor Toad is the only one that has an action in the overworld to help you progress. Bobby hops on a switch once and Kamek knocks down walls once or twice, I guess, but doesn't really count. And C, most importantly, you barely get to use them in battle. Partners don't follow you into Vulumental Shrines, which are a big chunk of the first 4 chapters. They don't participate in boss battles, and you don't even get to control them in battle. They just use the same attack over and over without any direction from the player, and they even sometimes miss. I swear Bobby has worse accuracy than Guillotine. I know I'm complaining a lot about how partners were integrated in the game, but I'm still very happy Nintendo brought them back at all, and took a step in the right direction of what we loved about the early games. It shows Nintendo is at least trying to incorporate elements of the old Paper Mario games, while also continuing to move the franchise forward, even if we don't exactly like that direction. The partners may not play a big role in battle, but they really shine in Origami King's story. They are a constant presence in dialogue when they're a part of your journey. They're constantly playing off of Olivia, which gives the adventure more of an RPG party feel than we have ever gotten in a Paper Mario game before. Joining forces with Kamek out of necessity is an interesting change of pace, since he's usually at Bowser's side fighting Mario. He's very wise, helpful, and is caught off guard by praise since he doesn't usually receive that from Bowser. It's clear that if Kamek was in charge of Bowser's army, Mario would have been defeated a long time ago. Bowser Jr. is just kind of there doing his thing, but I've been a fan of his since Mario Sunshine, so I'm cool with it. Why did he have to be strapped to the Koopalings and the clown car in Smash? If you've played the first 3 Paper Mario games, then you know how funny Bowser is when given time in the spotlight. Teaming up with him in Origami King is no different even if his look is off for most of the game. He's a powerhouse in battle, is full of great one-liners, and even provides some good advice when given the chance. Paper Bowser is the gift that keeps on giving. I wish he was in the party for longer during Origami King. Although Professor Toad doesn't add much to the story, he is the most important partner in helping you progress in the overworld, as he helps decipher Ancient One inscriptions, and you wouldn't be able to beat the world without the gems he digs up. I really wish Nintendo would have given him an actual name instead of just Professor Toad, but they were still able to pack a lot of personality into him, like the rest of the Toads in Origami King. Far and away, the most impactful partner in Origami King's story is Bobby the Bob-omb. When he was shown in the first Origami King trailer, I roasted him for his lack of original design outside of not having a fuse.
This is very important, actually.
But what he lacks in design, he makes up for in personality. Having lost his memory, Bobby gets to experience things such as friendship for the first time again, and he makes the most of every moment. He's a bit aloof and on the lazy side, but he does everything he can to help his new friends Mario and Olivia. He's one of my favorite parts of this game. I'm putting up a spoiler warning here because what I'm about to talk about was the most impactful part of the game for me. I'd hate to be the one to spoil this for you if you still plan on playing the game. Once you've destroyed the second streamer, Bobby regains his memory after seeing a firework go off. When asked about his past, he remains quiet and hesitant to open up because of what is assumed to be a great tragedy. Soon after, Ollie traps Olivia under a giant boulder in an attempt to stop Mario and company from getting in the way of his evil plan. Without much explanation, Bobby brings Mario to the abandoned ship, the Princess Peach, saying that there's a box on board that can save Olivia. As you search for the box on the ship, you start to piece together what happened to Bobby before he lost his memory. With the Paper Macho Blooper defeated and the box retrieved, you return to the giant boulder. Bobby explains that he lost his fuse, memory, and close friends to the blooper prior to meeting up with Mario and Olivia when it attacked the Princess Peach. He remembered that he had a fuse from his best friend who passed away long ago in the box that was held on deck. Bobby thanks Mario for his friendship and uses the fuse to sacrifice himself to save Olivia. I think this is the first time Nintendo has killed off a main character in the middle of a Mario game, and it really hurt. I cried for a good while after this scene, and the loss is felt by both Mario and Olivia for not only the next section, but the rest of the game. Mario and Olivia don't just experience this tragedy and move on right away. They mourn for their friend, and they need time to heal. You just don't see stuff like this in Mario games. I don't think we've ever seen Mario sad before, which is what makes the story in Origami King stand out to me. Thanks for the memories, Bobby. I miss you, buddy. Good stories full of memorable characters is a big part of what is so beloved about the Paper Mario franchise, and I really think that Origami King delivers in this department. You get to see a greater variety in the Mushroom Kingdom species as notable characters in this game again, which was missing in Sticker Star and Color Splash. I like how out of all the Mario side characters, they chose Birdo to appear in this game. It's even funnier because there isn't a single Yoshi throughout any of the worlds. That said, I have a couple issues with the story that we'll get into when we talk about the endgame. But first we need to talk about the battle system. A consistent gripe that fans of the early Paper Mario games have with the new titles is the changes made to the battle system. Many argue that a lack of level up system makes battling almost meaningless and removes a sense of progression from the games. The level up system is once again gone in Paper Mario the Origami King, but they did a complete overhaul of the battle system this time around. The battles are still turn-based, but now you literally turn the battle environment to attack enemies. Basic enemy battles require you to line up enemies correctly to maximize attack power, and boss battles task the player with creating a path to the boss who's in the middle of the circle. Thankfully, Nintendo did away with the use one attack and your item is gone system from Color Splash in Sticker Star in place of a weapon system in Origami King. You have unlimited access to your normal boots and hammer, but you can also buy upgrades weapons that do more damage and eventually break after a good amount of use. This makes running out of inventory a non-issue, and you can focus on proper strategy instead. You can also buy accessories, which act like badges from the first Paper Mario games. When equipped, these accessories increase Mario's HP, defense, and the amount of time you have to line up your attacks in battle. There are hearts found throughout the world as well that can increase Mario's HP and attack power. All of these things aim to give the player a sense of progression in the battle system. So, are these changes enough to create a fun and engaging battle system that will keep players wanting to battle despite a lack of any level up system once again? I found in my playthrough that my enjoyment of the boss battles and basic battles were inversely related. The more I got used to and enjoyed the boss battles, the less I wanted to do basic battles. Unless you're a boo, then I never wanted to fight you to begin with. Please get the fuck off my screen. Disappear out of the game like you do in the battle ring. Who the hell approved this at Nintendo? The boss battles have a pretty steep learning curve, with mechanics that change from boss to boss. Sometimes there are fire feathers in your path that you have to navigate around, or you'll take damage. Other times the ring is taped together so your path creation options are limited. And other times, you're fighting a water dragon that blows away half the pieces on the board when this is only like the third boss, so you barely understand how the battle system mechanics work yet, and it makes you want to throw your fucking Switch out the window and never pick up a video game ever again! Besides the water mental fight being the worst thing I've ever experienced in a single player game, I had a lot of fun with these boss battles. The learning curve is high because the game doesn't explain some of the more intricate and helpful aspects of the boss battles. Always use the hints from Olivia and the letters in the battle circle to take some of the trial and error out of each boss battle. These hint letters will also change as the battle changes as well. Ons are used to activate 1000-fold arms and mental summons, which are often 100% required to win boss battles. However, the game doesn't explain that these are the one item that you can pick up on the field that can be stored from turn to turn, which is a very big deal and makes the boss battle system much easier. Paying the toads that you've rescued 200 coins means they will often throw you weapons or healing items, and you'll be able to see your projected path outlined on screen, which is very helpful. Not making these things more explicit and limiting the ways that you can defeat each boss are fair points of criticism, but I still really enjoyed the boss battles in this game once I got a handle on the battle system. Every fight felt fresh, and I enjoyed the problem solving that came with figuring out that boss's gimmicks. It's not often that every boss battle in a game feels like a real triumph when you defeat them. When it comes to basic battles, nope, don't touch me, don't touch me, don't touch me. I'm single, but I'm not interested. Social distancing 6 feet apart, please. No! They're so easy at the start of the game that I didn't take any damage in battle for the first couple hours of my playthrough. But once the number of ring moves that you have becomes 3, the difficulty when it comes to lining up enemies correctly spikes significantly. If me and my 4-year college degree struggled with this, I have a hard time imagining that kids would have it any easier with this battle system. Or maybe I'm just dumb and I was a marketing major for a reason, I don't know. Whether you're a Rubik's Cube genius that gets these puzzles or you're normal, the battle system is still rather repetitive. Mario can only jump, swing his hammer, or use an item. There are no special moves or star moves, and you only get to use summons on very rare occasions. The basic battle system walks this weird line between, oh, you lined up everything correctly? You win in one turn without taking any damage. And, oh, you messed up. Grab a Snickers because you're gonna be here a while. It got to the point where I was so over the battles and had so much money that I tried paying the toads 999 coins and they just solved the ring puzzle for me. Whether you enjoy the basic battle system or not, this is where the real problem lies. You get way too many coins in this game. Nintendo tried replacing experience points with coins and confetti in Origami King as the reward for winning battles, but it's just not enough of an incentive. Confetti can be found literally anywhere, and coins are too easy to accumulate to keep the player wanting to battle by the end of the game. I was spending coins liberally throughout the game and only battling as needed, and I still had over 40,000 coins when I got to the final boss. For reference, the most expensive weapon is 1,776 coins, and the most expensive accessory upgrade is 4,999 coins. You don't need that much money to buy what you need for battle. Plus, the overworld throws you so many healing items, you realize that you don't need to buy them yourself after playing the game for a couple hours. So the only reason that you would need to have that many coins is to buy more member statues to 100% the game. Nintendo, if you're going to make coins the reward for winning battles, at least make them more scarce. I fought 0 enemies that I didn't have to in the final level because I was just really tired of the basic battles by that point. You reach the final level after destroying all 5 streamers Ali has planted across the world. It's worth mentioning before we get into the endgame that the second half of this game is noticeably shorter. The first 3 worlds are packed full of content, almost to the point that you can make separate worlds within them. Worlds 4 and 5, as well as the endgame, are still very fun, but there is significantly less to do in them. World 5 doesn't have any toads to rescue, which makes sense in context, but definitely makes you appreciate what having them in the earlier worlds did for exploration purposes. The majority of the islands in World 4 are optional, and most of the extra content comes from deep sea diving for member statues that you don't care about. I'm going to talk endgame spoilers here until the postgame and my final thoughts, so feel free to skip to this time. This is where the game's story starts to take a turn for the worse. One of the islands that is not optional is called Mushroom Island. Very great name, I know. Give him a round of applause. Yeah, did great, yeah. On this island, you find an origami craftsman who made Alia with the Fold of Life, who in turn made Olivia and used the workshop's supplies to create the Legion of Stationery. Sorry, I get there's a lot of what the fuck to unpack in that last sentence. This toad is just casually playing God in his basement, and in turn his creation plays God, and these workshop supplies are the half-ass reason the Legion of Stationery isn't more creative. Yes, some of them have very solid build-up, like Hole Puncher, who punched out the toad's faces in the tomb, and is very picky about his music taste. But these bosses easily could have been origami minions that Ali folded himself that utilized elements from these office supplies to create more memorable bosses. With these questionable plot developments in mind, let's skip to the endgame. After storming Princess Peach's castle in Bowser's new whip, the castle transforms into the Origami Castle from the Origami Craftsman's workshop. Completing the Origami Castle takes a lot less time than you'd expect for a final level, but maybe that's because I did 0 battles that weren't required. What bothers me isn't the ending's length, but how Nintendo handled it. You would think that Ali recreating things that his creator had in his workshop would be some twisted way of trying to honor him and create the world in his image, right? Wrong. Ali hates toads and his creator, which is why toads are trapped in weird spots all across the world. Ali hates toads so much that he's going to wish them out of existence by getting his wish granted through the 1000 swans folding technique. Pretty evil, right? He's gotta have some tragic backstory for him to have all of this hate in his heart and to hate his creator so much. Right? Nope. Ali's creator actually wrote a really touching message on his body in a language that he didn't recognize, so Ali just thought he got scribbled on and was really pissed about it, and decided that he would just kill everyone. Happy birthday, Matt.
Fuck you, you know I can't read!
With Ali destroyed both physically and in backstory, oh yeah, here's the boss fight. You've reached the end of the game, but not the end of your disappointment. Nintendo huddled up and said,
Okay, so Ollie's backstory is a bit weak, but we're on a tight deadline and we don't have enough time to change it. We need a distraction to bring the story home.
I got the box of leftover plot devices so you can see what's still in there. Huh. I thought we used this one already. That's right, they kill off Olivia at the last second! Per Ollie's request, Olivia uses his body to create the final swan, and she wishes that the world be rid of all of the origami that he created, thereby sacrificing herself in the process. Then everything goes back to normal, and they have the Origami Festival like they planned. Oh yeah, I forgot Peach was in this game. Instead of Olivia's death being heart-wrenching and impactful like Bobby's, it just made me mad. Bobby and Olivia are by far the best characters in this game, and they're both just thrown away like, well, I want to say it. Fine, like paper, okay? Bobby's sacrifice at least made sense from a plot standpoint, and it was something that Nintendo hadn't done before. But Olivia sacrificed herself for no reason after Bobby sacrificed himself for her. Olivia easily could have reworded the wish, or she could have become a paper being, which was actually my prediction before I completed the game. Hell, she could have just been remade by the Origami Craftsman Big Hero 6 style after the sacrifice, but no! Apparently Nintendo thought it would be too weird for an origami character to exist in a world of paper, and that just bums me out after the story was so good up until the ending. After seeing how the game ends, you may be asking yourself, so what is there left to do in the post-game? Well, don't you worry, I've written up an extensive list of what you can do once you've beaten the game. If you reopen your save file after the end credits roll, the game just plops you back in front of the door of the final boss. This only further reduced the emotional impact of the game's ending for me, as it just feels like it didn't really happen and it didn't matter. All that's left to do is try to 100% the game. That means rescuing all the toads, filling all the confetti holes, and collecting all of the member statues. Sounds fun, right? No! All 100%ing the game does is add an extra 5-second credit cutscene that honestly doesn't make the game's ending any better. That means unless you have way too much time on your hands, you have no reason to 100% this game. Paper Mario: The Origami King is a game that I had a great time with overall, but it also has quite a few flaws. If I had to describe this game in one word, I would call it a novelty. Much of the joy you get while playing this game comes from experiencing the worlds and the characters within them for the first time, not from the battle system or side quests, which is where replay value typically comes from. I give this game a solid 7 out of 10, which might be on the generous side given all the issues I highlighted in this video, but positives of this game kept me having a great time until the ending credits rolled. I don't know if I'd be able to recommend it to hardcore Paper Mario fans given all the issues I have with the battle system, but if you're looking for a new game that's set in the world of Paper Mario that has a lot of heart put into it, then I'd say it's still worth a pickup. Also, I didn't know where to put this in the video, but the music in this game is absolute fire, so even if you don't pick up the game itself, definitely give that soundtrack a listen. So yeah, I've talked enough for one day. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought of not only the video, but Origami King itself if you've played it yet. There's been a lot of great conversation down there for the videos I made so far, so keep those comments coming, and I love to read them all, the good and the bad. If you're new to the channel and enjoyed the video, please consider hitting that subscribe button down below. Thank you so much in advance for the support. Now, if you'll excuse me, I still have some more toads to find if I want to get that extra credit cutscene, so I'll see you all in the next video. Now, where did he go? I thought there was one around here.